welcome to today's video. Today I'm finally getting around to sharing with you my review of Gunpowder Milkshake, a film that I have been super excited to see for so many months. But did it live up to my excitement? Let us find out, shall we? Gunpowder Milkshake is a 2021 action film directed by Navo Papuchado and written by Papuchado and Ehud Lavsky. The film follows a young assassin who must team up with her mother and her former colleagues in order to save an 8-year-old girl. I'm sorry, I meant 8 3/4. Gunpowder Milkshake was one of the films, like I said, I was most excited for this year ever since I saw the trailer a few months ago at the cinema. The fact it just came out at the cinema and my state is back in lockdown is just very bad timing. Fortunately, I managed to see it before lockdown went into effect, and here I am, so very disappointed. I went in with such high expectations, and honestly, the posters for this film were more exciting than the film. Story-wise, it's ultimately very insipid. It's nothing groundbreaking, it's all been done before. There's not a single element of the film that felt new or original. It just felt like a semi-revamp of everything we've seen before. It certainly doesn't reinvent the wheel. Now, don't get me wrong, the wheel is very nice and it works just fine, so sometimes you can just work with it as it is. And this film does, and so in that, it's an enjoyable watch. I know this film came out in the US on Netflix, and between it being out on Netflix there and in the cinemas here, I think this film is far more suited for Netflix. The film is not at all serious, but the comedy isn't very funny either, so I'm not sure tonally what it was going for. I actually wish it had been more serious than it was at times. Ultimately, it came off quite bland. The dialogue for a lot of the characters was cringeworthy, and I felt needed a rewrite. Half of Angela Bassett's lines had me groaning, especially her speech about ghosts. That was a thing that happened. The story's events are fine, but again, it's a story I've seen before. A lot of people are calling this the female John Wick, or Jane Wick, as someone said, and to an extent it is. It's the whole underground world of elite assassins with codes and safe houses and all that secret crime syndicate stuff we've come to love, and I'm all for that. There's nothing wrong with that. There was just nothing exciting about it compared to other films. John Wick wasn't the first of its kind, but it made sure if it was going to give you this kind of story, it was going to stand out, and it did. This doesn't stand out for me. It's just very meh. Aesthetically, however, it's a cinephile's dream. The neon lighting and cinematography team with that 50s flair from the diner to some of the costumes, some, not all, but some were amazing. I live for that kind of stuff, and they did it so terrifically that every shot was just absolutely stunning. It's one of the things that kept me watching. From the cinematography to some of the sets, it was a visual paradise, and that's this film's biggest selling point. I think most of the action is fun, and everyone did a brilliant job. I mean, give me women kicking ass any day and I'm a very happy lady. And you picked like a cast made up of some of my favorite women, so not much to complain about there. Lena Headey and Michelle Yeoh were probably the standouts for me. Angela Bassett's character was fine, and Carlo Gugino brought the heart the film was missing, which was short-lived. I think when it came to the action, they all pulled their weight and were amazing. The only issue is some of the choreography felt very tame. I love watching fight and stunt choreography. There is something I find so captivating and mesmerizing, and I wish it was a category at the Oscars. Most of the action is great, but there were a few scenes where the fights looked far more rehearsed than they should have. The movements were very slow, like the bowling scene. Several of the stunts were done in a way that they made it too obvious they were never meant to hurt each other. Like someone moves and Gillen is meant to block the attack using the suitcase, but the weapon looks like it's aiming for the suitcase, not her. By that I mean a lot of the attacks look like people trying not to hurt each other by doing rehearsed moves designed to look like a fight but not do any damage, and seeing that had me bummed because I wanted to see them go for it. I know they could have, or at least they could have filmed it to look more believable. Some fights looked awesome, others looked weak, but ultimately I didn't see anything that wowed me. It pains me to say Karen Gillan was the worst thing about this film. I really enjoy her as an actress, but her choices for this film did not work for me. She chose to play the role as very apathetic, and that's fine, nothing wrong with that choice, but there's a lot of lines she's given or scenes that require an emphatic response to sell them, and by going for the apathetic option meant most of her lines just resulted in dead air. I saw more emotion in her portrayal of Nebula in Endgame than I saw in this film. Now, I'll admit then during the third act, she starts to soften a bit more, but not enough. I wasn't buying anything from her or even her younger version. Apathy can work, but not in this film. It needed passion, fire, it needed wit, a touch of whimsy, and instead she just went with deadpan, and that meant I didn't enjoy almost all of her scenes. I wanted to, I really did. I love that trailer so much, so getting this was unfortunate. The music feels reminiscent of Kill Bill, and I wasn't mad at that. Sometimes a crazy combination of styles and aesthetics worked, and sometimes it felt weird. It's a very mixed bag. The blood was definitely a con. In so many scenes, the blood looked more fake than the fakest blood I've seen in ages. It wasn't even laughable, but it seemed like an intentional joke, but no one else seemed in on it, so it just felt awkward. And having Karen's character acting immune to pain was another con. I can handle it in superhero movies. Even with human characters, I've just learned to accept normal rules don't apply to them. But in films like this, these characters are all very, very human. So having someone intentionally not react to being shot or stabbed or beaten as if the character suffers from congenital insensitivity to pain gave her just another layer of unrelatability and unlikability. I just can't get behind ass-kicking characters who feel no pain. Feeling no pain means nothing to overcome, and it's not impressive to me. I love John Wick because he indeed feels pain. I love Atomic Blonde because she definitely felt pain, and so them enduring and persevering is endearing and fascinating. This, not so much. This isn't a terrible movie. It's not poorly made and no one gave bad performances. Maybe made some poor performance choices, but the performances themselves weren't bad. The action is great, though unimaginative. The cinematography is everything. The score is good. The cast is terrific. The set is fun, but the story is weak and the world building is barely existent. It's an okay film. That's all it is. It's not terrible, it's not terrific, it's just okay. It's something you turn on Netflix and chill with snacks and friends or by yourself, or put on while working out and doing chores. It's not iconic, it's not the next big thing, it's not memorable, but I still appreciate its existence. Do I want a sequel? Definitely not. There's nothing to truly hate about this film, but being so excited for it and to get this insipid film with a bland story just has me feeling deflated, especially because I was hoping to rave about this one. The trailer for Gunpowder Milkshake released in Australian cinemas probably 1 or 2 months before the trailer was released in the US, because I remember people tweeting, the first trailer for Gunpowder Milkshake comes out tomorrow. I'm like, I saw that trailer months ago. What are you guys talking about? And then I remembered, oh yeah, America forgets that other countries exist. So I'd already seen it. I'm like, I don't know what this film is, but you have like my favorite women and they're fighting and there's neon colors, and I'm like, give me this movie. And then I saw the first poster and I'm like, oh my god. And I started saving all the posters and I was just dying to see this movie. And then as soon as it came out, I'm just like, yes, I have to quickly go and see it, because we went into lockdown as I'm recording right now, it's Monday, and we went into lockdown on Friday. So I managed to see it just before we went into lockdown. So I saw it on the Thursday? Yeah, whatever. So, really close. And, yeah, no. I mean, there are some people who are like, man, I wish I could see it at the cinema. Nah, I don't believe, that would probably have just been an extra waste of money. This definitely feels like a Netflix film. It feels like something you watch at home, not something you go to the cinema to watch. And you know, there are just certain films you watch and you know that they don't belong on the big screen. Like, as much as I absolutely love Thunder Force and everybody else hated it and I absolutely loved it, I don't think that film deserved to be on the big screen. It did not feel, as much as I, top marks, loved everything about it, it's not a cinema film to me. It's still a home movie to me. And it's weird that there are films that now, have that vibe to them. It's like, nah, that should be a streaming movie. Nah, that should be a cinema movie. But here we are. And this one definitely is a streaming movie. Yeah, it's... I'm glad. I don't know when it's going to be available for streaming in Australia. But when it is, Yep, that's the better option. I'd rather have that available for stream than actually buy it. But then again, I really do love the posters, so if I had money, maybe I would get a DVD of it just so I can look at the cover, because it might be really pretty. Oh my god, can you imagine like a metal jacket case for this one with the neon but raised? Oh! Still more exciting than the film. Anyway, that is it for today's review. If you have seen Gunpowder Milkshake, please comment down below and share your thoughts on this film. That is it. I hope everybody is well. Stay safe, stay happy, watch lots and lots of movies, and I hope to see you in my next one. So until then, bye!